the UNESCO DW Towers, and Dr. So I would like to invite for the panel online as Dr. Peter McGrath also is a coordinator of the Inter-Academy Partnership in Trieste, Italy. Thank you, Dr. Peter and Dr. Marcelo, for joining online, and also our panelists here in person to joining this event. And so that this term, then we learned from this, our presentations from these international local experts, that how it's work in universal goals, how the countries set their diplomacy, and in line with national priorities to achieve the mutual benefits within their national framework of the priorities. First, I would like to ask from Professor Dr. Peter, and so I think could you like to hear from you, and how can the countries institutionalizing this science diplomacy and the process to ensure the evidence-based insight consistently influence the national and regional policy decisions within the science diplomacy framework?
Okay, thank you, Shami, and thank you for the invitation to speak with you all today. I should add maybe just that I'm not only the coordinator of IAP, the Inter-Academy Partnership here in Trieste, but also the Trans Science Diplomacy Program. So a little of what you've heard from Professor Knobel about the 10 years of courses with AAAS and Trans. This is also something I've been largely responsible for. So that brings me my experience with science diplomacy. In answer to your question, how can countries institutionalize science advice mechanisms? I think we've heard some of the solutions already from Dr. Fernando earlier before the tea break, especially with the in the Sri Lankan context. There's a possibility to learn from different countries, to understand what they are doing in their contexts. But I think it's very important to set up the whole ecosystem, if you like. Perhaps starting at the top with a science advisor to the Prime Minister or the President, a science advisor in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and those two would obviously work very closely together. Maybe with others, in the Department of Science and Higher Education, the Department of Industry, Department of Health, whichever can be critical. The issue of science attaches has been raised, so having those focal points in the different embassies outside of Sri Lanka or whichever country, but also drawing down on the expertise of the scientific community in the country is important too. I understand you had a session this morning your time involving the Academy, the National Academy of Science of Sri Lanka, also talking about institutionalizing science advice mechanisms. I think there's a lot to be learned from the studies that they have undertaken. And then engaging with, I won't say every scientist in the country, but we heard the call for more scientists, especially from Professor Zachary, to get involved in science policy, creating the environment where those scientists' voices, their advice and recommendations can be heard, can be collated and synthesized to feed up into the government decision-making processes. I think this is a way that we can ensure that the decisions being made by the policymakers are the most rational, based on the scientific evidence that is available. Thank you.
Peter, and just